Welcome to Libertarian Leadership. This is Michael Pickens. I'm actually in Omaha, Nebraska right now, finishing up my trip speaking at the Libertarian Party of Nebraska convention. I have the gubernatorial candidate for the state of Iowa, Jake Porter, here with me. Jake, say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Awesome, man. Now, Jake, you're running in 2018, but you've already filed to run for office in 2016. Is that correct?
That is correct. We filed just about a month ago.
So you literally filed 2 years in advance before your election.
That is correct, yeah, 2 years in advance.
So what's the thought process behind that?
Well, the main thought process is that in years past, we've waited till the last minute to run. We've waited till 6 months before, 7 months before, and then announced that we're going to run before the convention. And then we're playing catch up. Our opponents already have this great large organization built up, and they're able just to go right in. We don't have that organization within the Libertarian Party, so we need to actually start building that, getting our county organizations to form. That way we're ready to go. The other thought process is on that we need to actually have somebody up there at the top helping these local candidates out. If I'm not there, we don't have other people out there actually doing that this year, and I thought that would be a real disaster not to have somebody out there providing that leadership for the down-ticket candidates.
Sure. And you've learned this through your experience in the last couple times you've ran, correct?
That's correct.
So you've ran twice?
I've ran twice, yeah. Once in 2010 and once in 2014, both for Iowa Secretary of State.
Awesome. So what have you seen from running for office back then and then running for office now?
I remember in 2010, whenever I ran, I announced, actually it was after the state convention, so I had to be appointed by the executive committee. We announced in late May, I want to say. By that point, I had just a few months to get everything prepared. That's to get all the marketing materials done, line up the speaking events, contact the early volunteers that we would need to put everything together. That was a lot of work. In 2014, when I ran, I actually announced it over a year in advance.
So we kind of experienced the same thing in 2014 in Washington State. We were scrambling last minute to get candidates filed, weren't really prepared. However, now the candidates that ran in 2014 are running again in 2016 right now, and they're much more prepared. They know exactly what to do. They have their websites going. So I think your strategy that you're using here in Iowa is huge. It's going to take us to the next level. And if we could get everyone in the Libertarian Party around the country to apply that strategy. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking about running for city council, most city council races happen in odd years. So 2017, get started now. Put a website together. State rep races, 2018. Even if you're not filed now, go ahead and get ready. Get started. Put your plans together and make it happen. Right?
That is right. And we've got one thing we did in the past was whenever I first ran for office, it is very difficult. A lot of it's filing. You've got to know all the state rules. You've got to know how to actually get the party's nomination. And so you go through all this and you spend a lot of time. Then whenever you run the second time, you don't have to do all of that. Mm-hmm. A lot of it just comes together. And then you've got a base of volunteers that you can use in your next campaign. You already know the issues that you're going to campaign on. And you know how to get volunteers, how to do the fundraising, who to contact for the website design, the marketing materials. You already know that, and it becomes a lot easier as you go forward in the next race.
Oh, definitely. When we're recruiting candidates, one thing that I always get them to commit to is running for office a minimum of 3 times. Because the first time you run for office, you're just learning, right? You're building that foundation. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, and that's okay. It's all about making those mistakes, learning from them, so the next time you run 2 years later, you're in a much better position. You're actually set up to win then, and second time and third time, make a bigger impact.
That is correct, and you learn so much in that first campaign, and the second campaign it really becomes a lot of fun, really becomes easy in many ways. The things that challenge you the first time no longer challenge you, and then you're actually out there helping other candidates.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and you said the main reason why you're running for governor right now is to help the other candidates, to build up a base of support, and then use your campaign early to recruit new candidates for state level races. Is that correct?
That is correct. When we have somebody at the top, it inspires other people to run for office. especially announcing this early. I'm the only announced candidate for governor, so I get a lot of publicity. There's no Republicans, no Democrats running against me, so I make an announcement, I put out a press release, and the media actually covers it this far out. That inspires people, and then we can also go around, and I can still travel the state. As I'm setting up my campaign organization, I'm also helping the local candidates, who I hope will support me, but I'm also going to support them this year, and I'm going to lend them volunteer staff. So my volunteer staff, the staff that I have, is going to actually help them run their campaign this year, and we're going to build the party up.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for what you're doing. What is your website?
www.jakeporter.org.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.